And he wants to give that one away? I don't think so. There's a Rek'Sai ban against Crash right away. That's kind of interesting to see.
Actually open with a Quinn ban. Now Sol finally picks up his first win of the season. Played that Quinn just fine. I guess it's just a situation where they don't respect much of Sol's champion pool, so why not ban something that he's actually looked pretty decent on?
I suppose.
The real big question is, does Lee Sin find his way through? Once again, it is a different jungler. It is Crash, who's definitely going to try and mess you up, whatever you're playing on. But Flawless just is able to conceptualize fights on Lee Sin, leaps and bounds over any of the other champions that he's played.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's going to be, it's going to have to be one of the bans for Longzhu, because SBENU will probably first pick it. Unless Longzhu wants to, leave a lot of power picks up and then just get 2 of those. There's a Lulu ban. The Rise ban against Flame is not too surprising. So what's it going to be? Lee Sin?
SBENU with their final ban.
Nidalee? I mean, if you give Crash that Nidalee, that's very, very dangerous. Okay, yeah, the Nidalee I think is what you need to ban. Yeah.
I mean, Chaser, Crash, both of them noted Nidalee players. Of course, Chaser last year was one of the best Nidalees in Korea, and Crash has really emerged on this scene as a front runner in that regard.
Well, Crash has just done things on Nidalee that I've never seen people do before.
Crash and Peanut, all about the Nidalee. So what's this final ban? On paper, it should be the Lee Sin. It's what we'd expect, but Lissandra's banned away. I don't know if you need to take Lee Sin as a first pick. With any other jungler, I'd say no, just because strong picks like Elise are available. But Flawless's Elise has been desperately poor, so I think actually Lee Sin first pick is justified from SBENU, but no, it's going to be the Graves.
Graves, okay. Well, they don't want Crash to have that either. And the thing is Crash on Elise has looked mortal, He has looked more like a regular jungler. They're going to get the GP and the Callista as well.
Power picks, though. Power picks.
I know, right? It's worked out.
Gangplank may not be ruling the roost with Burst in the late game team fights after the small incidental nerfs to his barrels, but the space he controls with the ult and the barrels is why you pick him. He does great damage, but his utility in controlling space, that global ultimate, is so damn powerful from Gangplank, and it's probably going to be top lane. It's probably going to be Flame, I would guess.
Alistar locked in, as is the Corki. So many power picks.
I mean, that's 5 power picks that you're fighting to get on either side of the draft through already. So,
and now Frozen's Lux has been the champion for him that's been making waves over the last few games, but his Zed was always pretty good too.
I don't think he's going to commit to Zed. They have last pick
a little bit early,
Yeah. Probably a bit early, like you mentioned. It could just be wave clear wars with the Lux. You have to be picking something lane dominant if you're going to try and lane GP top. You kind of want something with reliable wave clear in mid, because GP is probably going to be on the behind in the laning phase. You can't have a scenario where you actually lose your mid lane out of turret just because you've gone for a higher risk mid lane champion. You need wave clear and expect Longzhu to pick it up probably in the last round of the draft.
Yeah, so it will be Elise again for Crash. Now, Crash had a good game on Elise when you saw it, but it wasn't quite to the spectacular level that we saw in his Graves and Nidalee games.
You can definitely play the Elise the same way. She's got so much mobility. She's an excellent duelist. You can just go into the enemy jungle and try and run things while the enemy jungler has to play on the defensive. So I think it's a fine plug and play for Crash. And
I'm sure that's what we'll see.
How many AD carries we're seeing, Doa?
A lot.
Well,
top Vayne, yeah, why not? No.
Top Lucian has been a thing in Europe, so it's not out of the calculations completely, but this would be all in on 80 carries. I think we're going to see something resembling a different champion, but no guarantee of tankiness. It could just be a Fiora.
Yeah. Triple ADC is pretty crazy. Quadruple AD carry, that's a little bit insane, man.
But if it is the Fiora locked in, you have to think there's going to be the thought process to maybe flex the Gangplank into mid. Top lane Gangplank against Fiora is a really tough matchup. Doesn't get much better, even though Gangplank scales and will still be a factor in team fights. Really can't deal with all the massive mobility that Fiora has in the late game in a 1v1 scenario, but they're considering the Frozen special. It's going to be difficult days for Flame.
Yeah, it will. And will they just lock in that Victor? Looks like that seems reasonable. They could go for the Lux, but a Zed would be interesting here.
A Zed would be definitely committing on low wave clear, which I think is too much of a risk in patch 6.2. Those mid lane turrets, worth their weight in gold. I'd give up multiple dragons before I'd give up my mid lane turret, but Zed does have kill pressure on a mid lane Corki, and most other champions just kind of have to be on the back foot and get dominated by that pick. Maybe Twisted Fate to try and help out the other lanes. There's a lot to think about here for Longzhu. They're going to tip their hand with this final pick. Will it be Wave Clear? Will it be an Assassin? Will it be Twisted Fate, who kind of is a hybrid of the two? Looks like it's going to be TF.
Yep, okay, so TF for Frozen.
Going to have some Wave Clear. Going to have the ability to go and maybe not assassinate, but certainly force picks in other lanes. Risky though, because if you leave mid lane as Twisted Fate, Corki will take your turret if he has a Trinity Force, so you have to be so on point with your global usage.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And Twisted Fate without his mid lane turret does struggle a bit.
Difference between good Twisted Fate and bad Twisted Fate has been on display throughout Champions. We've definitely seen Twisted Fate's punished, and of course, things go well. The pick can do a lot of work, but this is a risky last lock-in for Longzhu.
Yeah. SBENU, though, really strong team with the Fiora, Graves, Corki, Lucian, Alistar. Looks like a very strong team, and we'll get to see what Flawless can do on this Graves.
I mean, the worry for Longzhu, it could be lane dominance in all three lanes and a Graves as well to cap it all off, because if SBENU play this to a T, the pressure in the early game before we see any items coming through on gameplay will be immense.
And the question is, too, how much does that Graves for Flawless kind of counteract what Crash likes to do, which is get into the jungle and fight?
I think we're going to see some tussling, Doa. Destiny's going to throw in, Twisted Fate's going to show up.
Yep.
We could see some extended team fights just over a red buff at some point in this game.
I think we certainly could. And I really want to see what Crash is going to do. I believe this is his second Elise game now. Let's see if that one ends up being a little bit stronger. And Flame on Gangplank. Well, he got his farming champion, didn't he? He's got that scaling one.
It's not quite the rise. It's definitely a risk from Flame.
That's right. Well, Longzhu looking to tie things up. Let's see if they can do it here in Game 2. It's game time. All right, welcome again to Summoner's Rift. Big cheer for Longzhu from the crowd. And SBENU getting a decent one, too. I mean, they did win Game 1. They are up a game in this series. And remember, SBENU still looking for their very first match win all the way here in Week 5. They got their first game win since Week 2 in last game.
No doubt the crowd is hyped. First game back from the Lunar New Year break. And an upset already in Game 1. As you mentioned, SBENU picking up the win. And now putting together a very strong draft. It's just definitely, once again, not necessarily a team fighting comp. You see 380 carries, lots of turret taking pressure, but it's going to have to be a pretty specific game plan from SBENU, and it's going to start off with a lane swap.
Yeah. Well, Alistar and Lucian, best friends forever.
Such a powerful duo lane, so no reason not to go for it whenever it's left up. Every team has been looking to pick up some combination of Alistar and Lucian in the early rotations of draft. And if I know anything about Sassen, he's always dancing around his Corki mid.
Yep. Oh no, that sound. It's Red Baron Corki. We're going to have to hear that sound all game, and it's going to be a long game.
Well,
it's going to hurt.
He usually spares us and goes for the Earth Rider Corki, but needs the Iron Crosses today.
Man, why would you make a skin that just has a constant plane droning sound?
Oh, awkward, actually, off screen. Longzhu really mess up taking the Krug. It actually resets so they don't pick up any experience coming into lane.
Oh, that's really rough. That sign, I think, was making a joke about Cloud Templar being old, but I'm not 100% sure. He's not that old either.
It's like Cloud Templar's the butt of many jokes. It's about how much money he makes, how old he is.
Balling out of control here in Korea.
I mean, his salary sounds pretty impressive when what I read on Reddit was true.
Yeah.
Spoilers, it's not.
Yeah, not bad. Secret trying to harass too, but he's just going to kind of watch instead. It's kind of creepy, you know, you're trying to take the Raptors and Alistar's just standing there just kind of watching you, and you're like, can I help you, Mr. Minotaur? And he's like, no, I'll just watch.
I like to think that Secret spent a lot of his Lunar New Year break watching David Attenborough documentaries. He's just role-playing.
Oh yeah? He's like,
narrating.
The jungle in top lane.
He's narrating the jungle
Raptor.
follow, yeah. Narrating's your job though, Doa.
I'd like to see David Attenborough try to decipher some of the wildlife on Summoner's Rift.
What would David Attenborough make?
Good luck, Dave.
Of the Krugs, the blue golem?
That's a question, right?
As long as we're trying to make short work of the bottom lane turret. Nothing doing in this early game. It's going to be all about getting the global gold of those outer turrets and then wave clear wars.
Yeah. Well, TF taking some pretty decent poke early on, but he's got plenty of sustain. Still has that biscuit. And looks like all the XP for that turret's going to go to Flame, of course.
Just touching on that Corki versus TF lane matchup, the one thing that's really emerged about Corki in this meta where AD carries can go mid is that Corki has a very powerful laning phase against a lot of the meta champions, and Twisted Fate was always a champion that you picked against low pressure mid laners. Corki is not a low pressure mid laner. He's high pressure in the early levels from 6, he has poke from range, he will take your turret if you leave lane, and he does have kill pressure with the cleanse, so Frozen's going to have to be completely on point, and it's going to be all about Longzhu relieving enough pressure to allow Frozen to make those Destiny plays, otherwise that ultimate, it's not going to count for anything.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, shutting Frozen down is really definitely one of the keys to shutting Longzhu down in this game.
I think it's more Longzhu finding a way to open Frozen up, because just Corki is enough to shut Twisted Fate down from having any relevance in the mid lane.
And Longzhu picked this into SBENU. It's not like they didn't know what they were getting Frozen into on the Twisted Fate. They've got to have some sort of plan, and the plan, of course, is to let Crash the Battle Ward get in there and find everybody.
Look, it's not like mid lane Gangplank is a great matchup, but I would have preferred them flexing Gangplank into mid and choosing something that can just have a bit more fun and top.
Man. What a bully, look at that. And they take the Wolves, they just push Soul and Flawless right out of the jungle.
They do have more members on the top side, so Longzhu playing around the side they have pressure on, and yep, let's take some turns.
Yeah. Why not? It's going to be taken in bottom lane too, probably going to get traded. And that's going to give Longzhu a chance to grab the Rift Herald.
So will SBENU be quick enough to actually pick up the Dragon as a swap? Assassin takes damage
Wow,
here.
Frozen coming in. Saucin may need to use that flash. Doesn't talk about knowing your limits. Flash gold card, and that's first blood for Frozen. Saucin playing it a little bit too cocky there. Wow.
Just a solo kill from Frozen. Big mistake from Saucin. He played as if he had heal when he had cleanse.
I know.
And got punished as he deserved to be.
I guess he didn't think Frozen would take the risk of flashing like that.
But you saw the big problem was Saucin had no mana. He had no ability to trade. Somehow he got chunked out, and all this is Flame horribly messes up getting the reverse push, but doesn't get punished too hard for it. That's a really, really big and uncharacteristic mistake from Saucin.
Yeah. I suppose you could make the argument that if he had flashed, Frozen would have just followed anyway with that gold card, but the biggest problem is just getting that low to begin with against a Twisted Fate. Frozen is a very good Twisted Fate player.
Just didn't play to his summoner spell either. With the cleanse, he just doesn't have the heal to try and bait one of those ill-advised turret dives. Twisted Fate, we were just talking about his weak laning phase, has just solo killed a Corki. Definitely note down that VOD timer. You will not see that again this season.
Yeah. Crash trying to find some action on the Soul here. He's chasing. There's the TFL coming in, and here's where Frozen gets really scary. Gold card lands her pass onto Frozen. Nice job there, and that's going to save Soul's life. But it was close. It was close.
Picking up that kill. Suddenly there was no pressure in mid lane. He was able to exit the lane. Only now is the minion wave being pushed up. This is the first time Sus has been able to get any turret damage, and Frozen just walks casually back to lane. Actually has distortion CDR boots already. The teleport timer and flash timer, so it's looking pretty good.
Yeah. Not bad at all.
I like how Crash just walks through lanes. He's like, I don't care if you see me.
Yeah. He's like, you can see me coming, but there's nothing you can do to stop me.
You see me roll, and speaking of rolling.
Oh, well, you may see a bit of a dive here on Frozen. I mean, SBENU needs to do something about this Twisted Fate. And they're going to try. Flash Pulverize comes in. Frozen just destroyed. Man,
they didn't see him rolling.
They did something about him, didn't they? Yeah.
Definitely didn't see the cow rolling.
They rolled him themselves.
They did indeed. That was a nice...
Because they were hating. That's why.
See, it's not just the players that can do the karaoke. We can throw in some tunes as well.
That's right. I know you like the Nore Bong from time to time.
Do enjoy a spot of Nore Bong. Flame doesn't enjoy finding more than one person in his lane. This has been a recurring problem for him 2 years running.
Flame sees this and he's like, just more to farm. Oh yeah.
Well, Flame just wants a solo lane with Ignite. That's all he ever wanted, is to fight against the enemy top laner.
Yep, and it all went downhill when Holmes showed up with Zach. That one finals back in 2013.
Oh boy. 3 years ago.
Yeah,
But still topical when we're talking about Flame.
it is.
Sassen powers in, got the package. Feeling a bit sheepish though after his early death, so may not be as fast on the package.
I don't think so. He's going to want to protect that package a little bit more than usual. Not be quite so cavalier with it this time.
It's just crazy because Chaser was so respected for his aggressive play, but whenever Crash comes in the lineup, the team band around him, and this changing lineup just really plays around the aggression of their jungler and just makes them so much more decisive, specifically in the early game.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because it's kind of the similar effect, and we've made this comparison a lot to what Peanut has done for the Rocks Tigers, where suddenly, you know, it kind of unlocks this aggressive potential that doesn't really exist. I mean, frankly, you don't see games like this without an aggressive jungler.
What I don't understand is that, oh, it's Flame has to flash, he's in trouble.
I guess so. Oh yeah, Flame pushed back under there. Can he get away? Doesn't look like it. Culling misses though. Nuclear has to dash ahead. They're still going to get the kill anyway, though. Uh-oh, they're going to pay for it, though. Here comes Frozen. Gold card comes in. Actually, it does not land. Nuclear. Oh, no, he just, no, what happened there? Was there just no gold card?
Gold card wasn't popped. Is popped
I guess
now.
not.
Secret didn't have ult, so he couldn't actually walk into turret range to headbutt him back. So Graves, everyone on the retreat. That was sloppy from SBENU. They do pick up the kill, but could have been punished much harder. It was actually a red card on port. That was the problem.
Yeah, I thought so. Whoops.
Whoops.
Better than blue card. At least red does more damage.
That's true. Blue gives you mana back.
Yeah.
Neither of them are useful in those teleports usually.
Not so much. Well, Flame is not really unused to dying in lane, so I don't think it's going to bother him too much. But you know, almost losing that tier 2, they're actually really lucky that they didn't end up having that go down. So that's when it does get a little bit difficult, even for Flame.
Just can Longzhu play around how weak Flame is going to be? He can't stand up in a 1v2. He can't stand up in a 1v1.
Well, the answer is Longzhu plays really long games, so yes, they can just wait until Flame has items.
But
Even
the
if
issue
that
is
over half an hour from now.
When we saw Flame get that first MVP on Ryze, sure, it was a 53-minute game. Ryze finally was a factor, but Gangplank isn't going to turn into a champion that can deal with Fiora in the off lane. That's the difference between the Ryze, who of course does have some semblance of outplay, and the Gangplank that's team fight, absolutely a beast, but 1v1 against a Fiora, no sir. Does have the advantage of a bit of extra CS on a level, so for now obviously going to do fine.
Yep. There's a gold card, and a Thunderlord's proc. No big changes on the Masteries, at least on 6.2. Only the little thing we're seeing is the strength of the Age is the big Mastery pickup for both supports and junglers. Right. Nuclear doing a decent amount of damage to Captain Jack, but the most important thing is they're just going to push the lane a little bit. Nobody's gone for the dragon yet.
Nope. It's 11 minutes, so it's not completely out of the realm of first dragon timing, but you're right.
It's gonna be cool to see 6.3 and see the dragon have a little bit more importance, because right now it just clearly is not a big priority for anybody.
The second and fourth buffs have kind of always been stepping stones towards greater things. It's just with the death timer changes, fighting around dragon has been so deprioritized.
Yep.
There's a lot of people here in mid.
Yeah, they're gonna try to go for it. Flawless gets caught out. Nice hook, and that's gonna be a kill for Longzhu. Really great death sentence. Meanwhile, Pure backing away. Is he going to go down? Secret will. That's a kill for Frozen. 2 already, and somehow Crash makes it through.
Crash lives because...
Oh, hello.
Flame's coming for a flank here.
He is, and Frozen's not done yet. Flash Flame comes in for Pure. They're so low health. Flame trying to get there instead. There's a barrel. Can he make a play with it? They may just give some kills to Sassen here. Uh-oh, maybe not. Sassen flashing over the wall. The Ren does a lot of damage. Not quite a killing blow, but Flame will get it with the parlay. No negotiations there. That's just a kill for Flame.
To say that Longzhu played that on the knife's edge was just completely underselling how low those health bars were. But all the re-engages, all the communication was on point. And with this change in the top lane personnel comes so much more synergy between the members of Longzhu.
So cool to see, too. That's the kind of play I like.
The big surprise to me is that when you see the replay first here, they get the pick here. The thing from Pure, though, that's the real big play, is they layered CC perfectly, get the first kill, and just watch the health bars. First Crash falls literally to death to Ignite Tick, but no, saved by the shield from the Thresh W, but then it's all about the teleport. We don't have time to watch the full replay. It was a long, drawn-out fight. We haven't seen any dragons, but this will actually be the second Rift Herald of the game.
Yep, that's right. This one will be going over to Longzhu, it looks like. And mid lane turret nearly traded.
Goes wide.
Really takes a lot of effort for Thresh to throw that, apparently. He's like, ugh, whenever he does it. Sounds like it's really hard. I guess it's a really heavy chain. I mean, he doesn't have muscles. He's an undead skeleton dude, so I don't know where the effort's coming from.
Hard to say. Certainly has the big wind up, but Longzhu still applying pressure.
Yeah, trying. There's a cocoon into the gold card. Flawless grab. Great layering of CC, or rather chaining of CC for Longzhu again.
They're grouping with the Gangplank and honestly getting picks just out of utility, not from the Gangplank necessarily, but Longzhu are playing it smart. Okay, they don't have a split push phase where Flame can get much use out of teleport, but they're using all the other parts of their comp, specifically the pick power of Gold Card and the Death Sentence, getting objectives left, right, and center.
Yeah, getting that mid lane turret is really nice for Longzhu. They're going to grab the blue buff on the way out. Oh, nearly gets taken by Sassen, but not quite. Still no attention put on Dragon, but Longzhu getting a nice edge just by the picks they've been able to grab.
So you sub out the top side of the map. You might think, okay, it's going to be different. Maybe the jungle will start ganking for top lane now that we have a different top laner. Yeah. But the big surprise to me is that, honestly, the biggest shift in the play with Crash and with Chaser is that Pure and Captain Jack play well with Crash on aggressive invades, whereas Chaser seems to just be off doing his own thing. It's just surreal to see that the only common factor between the two lineups, the bot lane, actually seems to see the biggest semblance of difference when they change that jungler.
Yeah, very true.
I mean, Pure and Crash are on a really good communication level. They play around each other, they layer their CC well. Chaser and Pure definitely don't have anywhere near that level of synergy.
Yeah, well, that was great, man. I mean, it was Cocoon into Gold Card, into Death Sentence with just the perfect timing. It's beautiful.
Hard to say if that's trust or practice or personalities gelling, but...
Or luck. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably not luck.
It's probably not luck.
It's luck when I do it.
First dragon you're speaking of, 15 minutes in.
Yeah, that'll be first dragon. That'll be a nice little stats buff for Longzhu. And they're going to extend that lead. A little over 2,000 gold ahead right now as Soul starts to split push up in top lane. But with a few kills and assists onto Flame, he's in a bit better of a place to contest this, especially once he gets that Trinity Force.
Oh, he's going to wave clear. That's what he's going to do. He's going to try and pick up as much CS as possible. Soul doesn't have the items to start turret diving yet. Actually is caught between multiple different items, so hasn't been able to rush down a Tiamat, hasn't been able to rush down any part of his build just yet, but of course they're all coming slowly.
Yep. This may be the end of the mid lane turret soon. Sassen able to get a little bit of damage done. Gold card onto Sassen though. Yeah, here's Flawless though, so he'll be okay.
This time Sassen has the cleanse available, so he could play a little bit more aggressive. Has Trinity Force, so he's trying to power down that turret as quick as possible.
Yep.
Longzhu already have all outer turrets down though, so pretty crucial that SBENU are struggling to get a mid lane turret. Twisted Fate actually has the turret advantage in mid, which means he has all that much more space to make those picks. Speaking of
picks, yeah, here comes the Destiny activated by Frozen. Let's see if he decides to do anything with it. He's going to go top. They want to get the kill onto Soul. No gold card loaded up. Flame getting really taken apart by Soul. Got to be careful there. He doesn't get the gold card. It was another red. Man, I think they're a little bit lucky that Flame didn't go down there, because I think unless Frozen was going for the red card just for the damage, that would have been 2 missed gold cards for him.
I mean, the early channel on the riposte may have been the reason why we saw the red lock. It's hard to say whether it was just a pure mistake or
that's a good point.
A smart adaptation, but the result is still a kill. Felt like if Soul played that a little bit more cleanly, it would have been a trade kill for the investment of the Destiny, but Longzhu crucially are winning out of all these little edges. They've got the first dragon, they've got 2 of the early Rift Heralds. In terms of picking up neutrals, it's been landslide advantage to Longzhu Gaming in the early game.
Yeah. That was a good fight. Flame's happy to get the assist on that one. Still hasn't been back to pick up that Trinity Force. Maybe now. Finally going to get around to it.
Soul's caught between 3 items, has a Tiamat, working towards His other items may just have to be the Sterix Gauge second, rather than the Black Cleaver that we would have expected.
This is going to be at the end of the mid lane turret. Pure comes in, doesn't land the death sentence.
Soul has his teleport, only level 10, Flame's 11, so want to get actually a full level behind his Soul, so I don't want to fight until he has that level 11. Grand Challenge does scale with level extremely impressively when it comes to that percentage true damage.
Yep, very true. Another Rift Herald, this time being taken by SBENU.
It's the most contesting of the Rift Herald I've seen in the early game.
Is it really contesting though? It's kind of just people taking it. Cocoon onto Sasin. It'll be okay.
Flash takes literally no damage from Graves.
Nope.
Well, the Lee Sin was available. Maybe it should have been locked in. Comes to Flawless.
Look at Crash though, his Tracker's Knife. That's actually something we don't see him build very often. He's usually more of a skirmisher saber kind of guy.
Tracker's Knife, Cinderhulk as well, worth noting. We've definitely seen people play around with Runic Echo, Cinderhulk, Runic Echo over Cinderhulk at least, but
I think there's a better way to go though.
There's damage dealers everywhere else, so it probably is the sole frontliner. Makes sense to go Cinderhulk this game.
Him and Pure kind of have to be the ones that get in there and soak some of those abilities.
Flame keeps farming. Actually has good item timings really, especially given his 4v0 troubles in the early game and then the difficult lane assignment against Fiora. Of course right now, lane is frozen by Fiora, so it's on Longzhu to make some thing out of the map pressure they've been gained because Soul's in no rush to break this freeze.
Yeah. Down in CS to Flame by a little bit. Not a ton, but enough. Enough that Soul's having trouble kind of split pushing.
Not really split pushing right now, it's just freezing.
Yeah.
He's going to back the lane pushing towards him. Graves doing his best to hold it, but of course will push the wave back with his auto attack. So it freezes across the map. Both mid lane turrets down though, so there is room for picks specifically for Longzhu. There's lots of space around the map for Frozen to look for the aggressive Destiny plays, but they don't have aggressive vision on either side of the jungle for SBENU, so the game's stalled out a little bit. Waiting for that Longzhu Crash and Pure deep warding mission to really open up potential picks for Twisted Fate.
I feel like this is the point in the game too where Longzhu just kind of sits back and then doesn't really do much until Dragon comes up. And we're kind of seeing that. They really don't have much of an incentive to do anything else with Gangplank trying to power up. Frozen's always there to respond to something if they need him to.
Soul has been deep freezing for about 4 minutes now, it feels like. He's going to keep doing so. I think SBENU honestly would be behooved not to fight for the next dragon, just keep getting that solo farm onto Fiora, launch those items, because again, has the makings of a Black Cleaver, the makings of a Ravenous Hydra, but just not the gold to finish any of those items.
Much. Poor Grump. Actually, he's okay. He just turns into a little frog again, you know? Who then immediately eats another giant mushroom. Why? This frog just doesn't learn, you know? It's kind of a dumb frog.
I think from all the interactions I've had with Grom, he doesn't seem the brightest.
Not too much. He doesn't have quite Kermit levels of intelligence, to say the least. Another dragon for Longzhu, and he's going to go uncontested by SBENU.
That's smart. I'm just interested to see that they've actually sent the Frozen lane over to Nuclear. Nuclear must have called Fiora away, because now he's the one that's profiting from a lane that's been frozen for a good 6-7 minutes now in the top side, although you can see on your mini-map that Soul does get lane farm to play around. It's just buying time for SBENU to scale. Sasin trying to hold these waves in the mid lane.
I guess so.
King's on to Baron. They're going to start it.
Yeah, I think they are. There's no vision there for SBENU, and SBENU not really reacting. Okay, now coming up, Sasin's going to poke around it, but this is a nice sneak from Longzhu if they can pull it off. Teleport coming in. They're getting low. SBENU wants to change it. Baron taken by Longzhu. Can they escape? That's the question. Captain Jack in a little bit of trouble as SBENU comes in. Knockups onto Crash. He's going to try to repel away. Flashes over the wall. And only Pure taken out. So I'd say that's a big win for Longzhu to sneak that Baron.
A really decisive Baron sneak as well. The shot calling again, so different from Longzhu when they have this lineup.
Yeah.
They just walked up to it. They realized they had Callista. They had the items and levels on their members. They all had flash available if there was a disaster and they had to flash over the back of the pit, and they burned it down from 3,000 health.
Well,
Credit to Longzhu, good to see.
It seems obvious to say they look like a different team because they pretty much are a different team in Game 2, but they look like a better team, and that's the really more important thing if you're the Longzhu organization here. This team looks like a team that could go far in Champions.
Crash is now so tanky. Has Randuin's Omen on top of the Cinderhole.
Wow.
Putting in some magic resist as well. He's against Quadra AD, and I've got a worry in the world.
Yeah, pretty much.
So much pressure being applied, chiefly by Crash. This is how he plays League of Legends, is aggressive invades and controlling vision. There's so narrow a minimap that SBENU have access to, just because they don't have vision outside their lanes, really on either side of the map.
Yeah, Longzhu certainly in firm control right now. They're going to use the Baron buff to push down the tier 2. Here in bot lane, Culling may delay that for just a moment. No, I think the cannon minion will be able to handle it.
Fiora has no teleport, so no way to get 5 members to bot. Multiple ways with the Destiny and double teleport available from Longzhu, so add that to the stats. Another turret for Longzhu. They just keep rotating, and with this Baron buff, very little that SBENU can do.
Yeah. Ouch. Although not too ouch.
No.
Maybe a little bit ouch.
That was Runic Echo, at least. Big ouchies. Right now,
Yeah.
very minor ouchie.
Yeah. Soul's just never really been able to get anything started with this Fiora, you know, maybe now, but Flame has enough to believe that he might be able to contest this a bit better. Here comes the gate coming in. Soul stunned with that gold card, and another kill for Flame. Meanwhile, the rest of Longzhu pressures that mid lane a little bit safely. Get the tier 2. Yeah, Longzhu looks like they may not need 50+ minutes to close this one out.
Longzhu look like they may not need the likes of Coco and Chaser in their lineup, because with what looks on paper to be the weaker lineup, no one knew anything about Crash before the start of this season. Frozen was very likely to not get any game time at all when you're talking about Coco coming into the lineup. The guy who you would say is probably the second, maybe third strongest mid laner in career in 2015. But all the factors together has led to so much more clean and decisive a game plan from Longzhu.
Yeah. I mean, man, you just compare last game to this game, and this Longzhu squad looks so much better. And, you know, we're still fairly early in the season. I don't know if I want to call it definitively just yet, but early indications would seem to show that Flame, Crash, and Frozen right now are maybe the better trio to go with at this point.
The big question for Longzhu that we all ponder is who's the shot caller, because so many members wholesale are changing. Is it Captain Jack?
Pure?
It could be Pure, from what I understand it isn't, but maybe it might need to be Pure because there's another variable to throw in. Fury will see game time eventually. Captain Jack's always been noted as being somewhat of a shot caller from the AD carry position, so
Sure.
the funny thing is, even though you can see that they've got quite a few of those variables under control with this lineup, it's still going to start changing very, very soon.
Well, the thing about Captain Jack, too, is he's never the flashiest AD carry. He's never the big playmaker. Well, very seldom, I should say, the big playmaker. But he is always solid. You know, he's always just been a good, solid AD carry. And if he's also a big part of the shot calling, that's something that you want to keep in, even if you do have an option like Fury to go with, maybe.
How does so much change, though, if Captain Jack's always there and the lineup last game gave us the performance we saw from Longzhu?
That's true. That is true.
Junglers always have some semblance of shot calling in the early game. It's just the nature of that roaming role where you're, for a lot of the laning phase, completely off the map.
Oh, Flame going all in onto Soul. Soul getting a little bit low. Flame gets the kill. That's the Flame I remember.
And that's a 0-3 Fiora against what is now a farmed and fed gangplank. This should never happen, but Flame's easily out-trading in the top lane, and this is not over.
Not yet. Wow. Going in is Frozen on a nuclear. Dives the turret with that Twisted Fate. Flashes for the kill and a nice Zonia's to deflect the aggro. Still going to get taken out, but that's going to let Longzhu come in and do some damage to the mid lane turret.
The full court press is on though, Dole. Might see a reinitiate, probably not though. Gangplank's free hitting on top side. They don't even care that they gave 1-for-1 because they're just applying pressure in every lane.
He's going to get that turret too.
They get a big chunk at minimum. Chased away now.
He'll get it. Crash ends up finishing that one off. Nice repel, dodges a headbutt actually. Good timing there. Here comes Sawson, but with no package, he can't go in too far. Crash looking for a chance. Where's that Lantern? Pure with the hook onto Flawless. They're going to try to turn around, but Soul in the back lines onto Flame. Needs to be careful now. Soul looking for some revenge, and he gets it. And SBENU turning this one around big time. A double kill for Saucin. And now what can they get off of this 4-for-0 teamfight win?
That's the thing, 4 kills, but Baron is down. Dragon is up, and okay, it's a first Dragon, but it's a very small victory. Maybe they can get the lanes in the position they want, but so much is off the map that, look, it's not the best look from a Longzhu side, but they're not going to get punished extensively from what was a very nice teamfight win, but maybe too late for SBENU.
Well, I think getting the Dragon is a good thing. Getting that 6% stat buff is pretty big at this point in the game because of the items you've developed. As you can see with this team fight, I mean, Longzhu just overstayed their welcome.
It was an overstay, it was an overextension. Teleport was available from Soul, so even though he was behind, it was still a big factor in the fight. It was a good answer, but it's one of those questions were posed by Longzhu 15 minutes ago, and it's like that kid that raised his hand in class too late. He's finally got the answer, but the game might already be over.
That's right. He's already been demoted to a lower grade.
Oh.
Or no, he'll have to repeat
That's
the one he's
harsh.
in.
Do they still do that in America? Repeating grades?
I don't know. I haven't been in school in a long time, Papa's.
No, Doa? Oh, I thought you were still a young man.
I am, but you don't really go to school for that much of your life, all things considered. But you should never stop learning.
Learning about Longzhu gaming, a lot of it's speculation when it comes to shot calling, but it's nice to be excited about this squad that, I mean, you have to remember, last week they lost to CJ Entus, one of the unfancied bottom teams. Yeah. Okay, they picked up a win the last series of the week, but they are expected to win this series comfortably. We both thought 2-0. Already shocked by the bottom of the table SBENU, and not out of the woods just yet, even with an 8,000 gold lead at 30 minutes.
Well, you know, we saw what happens when a team can win a team fight in a late game situation. Longzhu seems to be far enough ahead that that's not so much of a danger, especially after we just saw that last fight go the way of SBENU. But then again, you know, you have that fight 20 minutes from now. Could be bad for Longzhu.
And I'm interested to track once again. We saw the solo kill by Flame onto Soul. Suddenly, Ravenous Hydra, Black Cleavers start. They're starting Baron a second time.
Wow, Frozen distracting from his team taking Baron by going after this inhibitor. Great play, I think, from Longzhu.
But the smart thing is they're keeping on this Baron. They have excellent secure.
Yeah.
You can see that SBENU are all at sea. They have no idea what to do.
And he just TPs away. Oh, he didn't make it. Where'd he die? Longzhu gets the Baron. They got to get out, though. There's the repel. Right down onto Soul. Soul let Crash get out, but not quite all the way. So 2 kills. Meanwhile, Flame, down in the bot lane, he's putting that Baron to work already.
SBENU are being run around the playground so impressively here by Longzhu. What's the decision you can make? They have Kalista for secure and a super tanky Elise who can solo tank the Baron forever. One of the big things for SBENU is they could back away from Baron against almost any other team because no one runs any tanks anymore. No one can tank the Baron in a 2-man Baron situation, but full tank Elise can, and that's why SBENU were put in a false choice. They had to respond to the inhibitor going down, but they had to respect Baron as well, and the result, both go down.
Yeah, pretty much. Wow. I gotta say, I really want to know where Frozen ended up after he...
No, the teleport never completed. Just died.
Just died right there? Okay, I didn't see it.
That was definitely...
It's close.
Reminiscent of Mickey on Victor trying to teleport to bottom and dying during the port.
Yeah. Well, he had to try to get out somewhere. He knew he was probably going to end up giving his life for that inhibitor, but I would say it was worth it.
I mean, just think about what they got, though, Don. They got the inhibitor, they got the Baron, all from that pressure, clear calls from multiple members of the team. Sign of a good team. They got everything they went for, and even Flame. Didn't get the turret quite, but got a lot of damage onto the bot lane inhibitor turret.
Yeah, and again, just seeing more aggressive, more decisive. But if they make this game stretch out another 20 minutes, they deserve to lose.
Okay, there's the call from Doa. 50 minutes, all about SBENU.
My official determination.
Proclamation.
Proclamation, determination. I have determined, I've decided that if this game goes 50 minutes, Longzhu has not closed it out fast enough and thereby deserves to lose.
There's just so many headaches for SBENU. So many things that need to be attended to that There's just so little way for them to stay in this game. They're going to lose the bot lane inhibitor. The turret was already super, super low. SBENU needs to win a fight now, otherwise they're going to find themselves easily 2 inhibitors down.
Culling's going to not do a whole lot. There goes the inhibitor, so 2 inhibs down. And Longzhu can just rotate to the mid lane with that Baron buff. If everyone groups is 5, they're going to be just fine, even with a couple members of the team lacking the buff.
Initiation isn't something SBENU has. You know, I talked about starting a fight. Who's going to do it? Is it going to be Flash Alistar combo? Is it going to be Fiora flank? Even that's not ideal. There's lots of disengage and CC from Longzhu.
Yeah.
SBENU have once again picked a comp that's best from ahead, but they're not ahead this time.
Oh, Secret's trying to make it that way. Toss it, Captain
Whoa.
Jack back in. Gets blown up.
That's
and
2.
now double kill for Flawless. And you got to be careful around this SBENU team. Man.
Well, Flash Alistar combo was the way apparently, though. They get the 2
so.
kills, but once again they're in that scenario. Got the 2 kills, nothing else to get them.
Yeah. Well, that worked. That stopped Longzhu pretty cold.
Look at the clock, though. It's only 34. Still 16 minutes for Longzhu to make something happen.
Yeah. That hurts, you know? I mean, you're trying to put the finishing touches on this game, and then you lose people like that. It's rough.
And that was literally the only initiation Longzhu needed to play around was Flash Alistar. That's literally the only option SBENU has, and it's a mistake. It's something they'll have to remember for future games. It's what you really, as a coach, would point to on the VOD is, guys, literally only Flash Alistar can stop this siege.
Yeah.
Respected at all points until you know that Flash is down.
Well, we know that Secret is a great Alistar player. He's made plays like that in the past, and even though he's been kind of hit or miss this season, he's still got that capability in him, as we just saw demonstrated pretty visibly there.
It's just something you learn to play around at the highest level is Flash initiation. It's one of the reasons why the mechanics on display in 2016 are so much higher than they were 3-4 years ago, is that players know to play around Flash. They know to play around combos. Malphite's initiations aren't as reliable because people can flash them quite reliably. If there's only one cooldown you have to respect, it should be easy to respect it. And that was just Longzhu disrespected going for this siege win.
Hey, I was Flash Tibbersing people on Andy back in 2011, man. I always knew.
You always knew.
So ahead of the curve. Longzhu's going to try for this mid inhibitor again. Got the gold card loaded up.
Burst, look at that.
That turret's not going anywhere.
Third of the turret health just from one card from Frozen. He's going to walk up again and try and just finish it now.
We'll do some damage to it.
Longzhu can be more aggressive here. Frozen can disrespect a little bit more because he knows Flash is down from Alistar.
Yep. Oh, that grab was close to connecting on the nuclear. There we go, Cocoon onto Secret. Flame's going to drop his ultimate. Secret's going to engage again. Headbutt Pulverize, Soul trying to come from the side. Forced away though right away. Longzhu has to disengage. They lost a lot of health on Crash immediately, but a little bit more on the SBENU side. And there goes the turret.
The third turret, this will be the third inhibitor down. SBENU really can't afford to give this up. Just keep it alive.
Yeah, but Longzhu really can't afford to give up another teamfight win. They're going to leave that inhibitor for the moment. That top inhibitor has come back up. Bottom inhibitor about halfway there.
It's on Longzhu to make a mistake, you'd have to think. If they keep at the pace they've been playing, if they're smart with their lane assignments, there's just so little way for SBENU to force anything. Secret's got his flash up again, so I guess miracles are possible, but that's about it for SBENU.
Yep, Sassen's got his package if they want to try anything fancy in the next team fight too.
Has he used his package at all?
Not offensively.
Even defensively?
He's used it to just move around, I think, at this point. I don't recall seeing one. I could be wrong, but just off the top of my head, I don't think so.
Non-combat package use.
Yep, that's right. Just a travel package. So Longzhu having to back off. Push these lanes out normal.
I guess it must be Baron time soon.
Probably a minute or two left.
I like how we're back to the feel Barons, where it's like, well, it feels like Barons up soon.
Yeah, my internal timer is telling me it's like a minute and a half away yet.
I'm surprised your internal Baron and Dragon timers are still so attuned. You haven't had to use them for years now, Doa.
What? Yeah, well, no. When did they start doing the timers for these on the screen?
It's been at least a year.
Has it?
Yeah.
I don't know. When when I play my own games of League, I generally just feel it out. I know I can hit tab and see it, but I don't.
Well, your timer was slightly off.
Oh, okay, I was about a minute off. Oh well. I don't time Barons. I win the game before we need it.
That's fair.
Longzhu trying to win this game with a Baron. They're going to get it. A little bit cleaner this time around. And they're going to go into the back line. Flame drops that ultimate. They're going to slow up Secret a little bit. He's got his ult. He's taking a while to get killed, but they're going to get him eventually. And Longzhu looking to close this one out. Flash gold card onto Flawless, and that's going to be another kill as soon as they catch him. There it is. One for Flame. And Sawson very low. Whoa, Soul trying to be a hero, but it's not going to work. Flame gets low, but gets out. Wow, Lil Jon would have been proud of how low Flame got there.
Frozen teleports to the bot. He's got the Lich Bane. There's going to be 3 inhibitors dead. It should be the game ending. Only 2 left.
I think so, yeah.
Even though they have wave clear. And Longzhu, for great swaths of this game, have played impressive, controlled, aggressive League of Legends.
Oh, goodbye, Sawson. This has got to be one of the quickest Longzhu wins of the season, too, as they're going to take it before 40 minutes. GG. So we are all tied up.
One of those quick 38-minute games. That's the 2016 meta that Riot didn't want, but it's the one we've got. 38 minutes, a far cry from the 50-plus minute epic in Game 1, and now we're all tied. And surprisingly, we're going to a Game 3 between SBENU and Longzhu.
We have different definitions of the word epic, Papa Smithy.
Oh, I know.
Well, it's tied up, but that Longzhu team looked much, much better than the squad we saw in game number 1. You'd have to imagine they're going to stick with it for game 3, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see, but I think Crash, Flame, and Frozen are going to be anchored for the near future. The team plays around them so well. It's not just the 3 of them coming in and doing the brunt of the work. Pure and Captain Jack played around Crash's aggressive invades for vision. Their vision control in the enemy jungle was on point. So often this game, SBENU had no access to any camps just because they were afraid of the Elise waiting and lurking in the shadows.
Yeah, we'll be back for game 3. Don't